Welcome to our deep dive into Meditations, the timeless work of Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher. This personal journal, written over 2,000 years ago, contains Marcus' reflections on life, leadership, and inner peace. Despite its ancient origins, Meditations has continued to inspire generations with its practical and philosophical guidance. In this video, we'll explore each of the 12 books or chapters that make up Meditations, focusing on their key teachings and how they can be applied to our lives today. Whether you're seeking resilience in difficult times or a framework for leading a more virtuous life, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations offers invaluable wisdom. Let's begin our journey through the mind of one of history's greatest thinkers. Chapter 1: The People Who Shape Us. The first chapter of Meditations is a list of Marcus Aurelius' personal mentors, including family members, teachers, and friends, each of whom shaped his character and virtues. From his grandfather, he learned gentleness; from his father, modesty and self-control; and from his mother, a love of simplicity. These influences reflect the Stoic emphasis on learning from others and practicing gratitude. Marcus' message is clear: no one is entirely self-made. We are all shaped by the people around us. The virtues we admire in others can guide our own personal growth. This chapter encourages us to reflect on who has influenced us and to live in a way that honors their lessons. Chapter 2: Facing Life's Challenges. In the second chapter, Marcus Aurelius reflects on the inevitability of encountering difficulties and negative people in life. He writes, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." But instead of being frustrated, Marcus encourages us to accept these challenges with patience and understanding, realizing that such behaviors often stem from ignorance. This chapter teaches us the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, the anticipation of adversity. By mentally preparing for life's challenges, we can respond to them with resilience and grace. This mindset helps us stay composed and rational when faced with conflict or hardship. Chapter 3: Living in the Present. One of the central themes of Meditations appears in Chapter 3, the importance of living in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminds himself that time is fleeting and that death is inevitable. He writes, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." For Marcus, the present moment is all we truly possess. Dwelling on the past or anxiously speculating about the future distracts us from our ability to act with purpose in the here and now. This chapter invites us to embrace mindfulness and appreciate the power of the present. Chapter 4: Controlling Your Emotions. In Chapter 4, Marcus reflects on the power we have over our own emotions. He writes, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is a core principle of Stoicism. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Marcus emphasizes that our emotional suffering often comes from our interpretations, not the events themselves. By changing our mindset, we can find peace even in difficult circumstances. This chapter encourages us to master our emotions through rational thinking and self-awareness. Chapter 4: Controlling Your Emotions. In Chapter 4, Marcus reflects on the power we have over our own emotions. He writes, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is a core principle of Stoicism. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Marcus emphasizes that our emotional suffering often comes from our interpretations, not the events themselves. By changing our mindset, we can find peace even in difficult circumstances. This chapter encourages us to master our emotions through rational thinking and self-awareness. Chapter 5: The Impermanence of Life. Chapter 5 focuses on the impermanence of life. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that all things, our possessions, our bodies, and even our loved ones, are temporary. He reflects on the transient nature of the human experience, writing, "Everything is in flux, and this constant change is a part of nature." This recognition of impermanence helps us to detach from material things and appreciate the present moment more deeply. By accepting that nothing lasts forever, we can reduce our anxiety and live with a sense of tranquility, knowing that change is inevitable. Chapter 6: The Rational Mind. In Chapter 6, Marcus Aurelius delves into the idea that the rational mind is our greatest asset. He writes, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is one of the most famous Stoic principles. When faced with obstacles, we can use them as opportunities for growth. Rather than being discouraged by setbacks, we should see them as fuel for our personal development. This chapter reminds us of the power of perspective and the importance of using reason to overcome life's difficulties. Chapter 7: On Duty and Virtue. In Chapter 7, Marcus Aurelius speaks about duty and virtue, urging himself and us to remain committed to doing what is right, regardless of external pressures. Do what you have to do, without expecting applause or recognition. He writes, "For Marcus, living a virtuous life means fulfilling our duties with integrity, even when it is difficult or goes unnoticed." This chapter emphasizes the Stoic idea that virtue is its own reward. By focusing on living honorably rather than seeking external validation, we can find lasting fulfillment and peace. Chapter 8: The Universe and Our Place in It. Chapter 8 is a reflection on the vastness of the universe and our small place within it. Marcus Aurelius reminds himself that life is short, and that we are just one small part of a much larger, interconnected whole. He writes, "Consider that before long, you will be nobody and nowhere." This chapter emphasizes humility and perspective. It reminds us not to get too caught up in our individual problems, as they are tiny in the grand scheme of things. By understanding our place in the universe, we can cultivate a sense of calm and contentment, knowing that everything is part of a greater natural order. Chapter 9: Managing Desires. In Chapter 9, Marcus Aurelius addresses the importance of managing our desires. He warns against being controlled by pleasure or pain, stating that a wise person should be content with what they have and avoid chasing unnecessary luxuries. This chapter highlights the Stoic belief that happiness comes from within, not from external things. Marcus encourages us to cultivate self-discipline and to focus on what truly matters, inner peace and virtue. By controlling our desires, we free ourselves from the constant pursuit of fleeting pleasures. Chapter 9: Managing Desires. In Chapter 9, Marcus Aurelius addresses the importance of managing our desires. He warns against being controlled by pleasure or pain, stating that a wise person should be content with what they have and avoid chasing unnecessary luxuries. This chapter highlights the Stoic belief that happiness comes from within, not from external things. Marcus encourages us to cultivate self-discipline and to focus on what truly matters, inner peace and virtue. By controlling our desires, we free ourselves from the constant pursuit of fleeting pleasures. Chapter 10: Adversity as a Teacher. In Chapter 10, Marcus Aurelius discusses how adversity can be a powerful teacher. He believes that difficulties and challenges are essential for personal growth, writing, "What stands in the way becomes the way." This chapter reinforces the Stoic belief that we should not fear adversity, but rather embrace it as an opportunity to strengthen our character. Every hardship we encounter is a chance to practice patience, resilience, and wisdom. Chapter 11, Death and Acceptance. Chapter 11 deals with one of Stoicism's most difficult yet liberating teachings, the acceptance of death. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminds himself of his own mortality, writing, "Death smiles at us all. All we can do is smile back." This chapter teaches us to accept death as a natural part of life, rather than fearing it. By coming to terms with our mortality, we can live more fully and without fear. Marcus encourages us to focus on living virtuously and mindfully, rather than worrying about when or how we will die. Chapter 12, The Stoic Ideal. In the final chapter of Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reflects on the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous, rational, and purposeful life. He urges himself to remain focused on his duties, to avoid being distracted by trivial matters, and to continue striving for inner peace. This chapter brings together all of the major themes of Meditations: self-discipline, mindfulness, resilience, and acceptance. It serves as a powerful reminder of the Stoic path, a life lived in accordance with nature, reason, and virtue. In conclusion, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is not just a book, it is a guide to living a fulfilled and meaningful life. From the importance of gratitude and self-control to the acceptance of death and the power of the present moment, Marcus Aurelius offers timeless wisdom that can help us navigate the complexities of modern life. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Meditations. If you found this exploration helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more philosophical insights. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Until next time, stay mindful, stay resilient, and live with purpose.